Hello, I'm Courvoisier, the rough-skinned newt. As the world of combat sports returns to normalcy after the mega spectacle that was the Maymac experience, we're reminded some things never change. Like Nate Diaz and the sum total of consideration he's willing to extend towards various externalities. Absolutely none.
I disagree. You tried. You didn't win 4 rounds. You didn't win 4. What rounds? You didn't win no rounds. You got Mayweather McGregor. You tried. They didn't even try to beat you. They felt like 17 rounds. You won. Okay, that's like an hour. Yes, but I think you feel like you drop on me.
From the beginning of the clip, we see how fractured the communication is between Nate Diaz and Brendan Schaub. They're talking past each other. Perceptually, they're having wildly different conversations. It's not surprising the breakdown comes so quick and absolute. Our perception is informed by our expectations. A world of factors create our individual perspective. There is no need to assume malice or assign fault with either man when differences in life experience and personalities suffice to explain the miscommunication. Schaub gives his motivation for talking with Diaz.
I saw him, and my first instinct was to go to him and go, this is what you should be doing. They have a press conference. They're going to interview. What I would do, I know a few things about marketing. I'm not the best in the world, but I have a
You're
few
very good
ideas.
at it.
I was just going to offer my help because a lot of guys ask me for help, and I usually don't do it.
What were you
going to
say to him?
I was going to say, hey, Conor obviously lost, but I don't think you celebrate his failure. I think you celebrate the fact that he won rounds against the best of all time, and it shows how good of a striker you are because you outboxed Conor in the octagon.
Brendan believes what he's saying here. He gives no indication of skewing the story to make himself look better. Both hands out, palms up shows an authentic desire to understand. Schaub's animated in this way because he's honestly perplexed how the situation could escalate from helping a peer to Nate flipping birds and shouting jeers. It seems insane to Schaub that Diaz would react so completely out of proportion to what would be reasonably expected. Nate didn't go up to Brendan and start talking shit. It was Schaub who decided to inject himself into Nate's space. Diaz has famously strong in-group, out-group judgments. Schaub is open. He thinks because they both fought in the UFC and they're hanging out at the Maymac fight, they have enough of a common connection to share ideas with each other. Wrong. For all the wonderful things Schaub might want to say to Diaz, this is what Nate heard.
This is what you should be doing.
This is what you should be doing.
This is what you should be doing.
This explains Nate's body language early in the clip. He's holding tension in his jaw muscles and across his lowered brow. We see Nate turning his body away from Schaub continually. This isn't fear or some kind of submission. This is his reticence. Nate didn't ask for this conversation, and he clearly doesn't want to be engaged in it now. Nate sees this as an attack from an outsider. Schaub doesn't know him. He doesn't know what Nate values. Even though Nate sees this as an affront to his sensibilities, he tries to be accommodating. As Nate continually points toward Schaub, he's expressing a simple but powerful idea. What you are saying is your truth, and that's cool. Mine is a different truth, and that's cool. Nate is allowing Schaub a path to save face, which is a crucial social grace to avoid physical conflict. Schaub's a gregarious dude. He doesn't understand the signals coming from Diaz. He doubles down on his rational, rhetorical approach. From Nate's perspective, look how aggressive Schaub's behavior is. Schaub steps inside Nate's personal space. He tries to lock eye contact with Nate. Look at Brendan's right hand. He's crowding Diaz. He juts his chin towards Nate. Verbally, Brendan is even more challenging, trying to catch Nate with a gotcha moment. Remember, this isn't a conversation Nate asked for. He's completely uncomfortable being forced to have it. At the best of times, Diaz has difficulties verbalizing his thoughts, though if he's comfortable and you give him time, Nate is perfectly capable of articulating himself. Brendan is cutting him off and hammering questions faster than Nate can respond. Nate Diaz is a badass bodhisattva, blending aspects of the martial arts with a personal philosophy of loyalty and self-reliance. At times he exists in a state of nirvana like Zen. This part of his psyche is a tranquil pond. It stands in reaction to the chaos and violence of his childhood and fighting career. Still, serene, and peaceful. Nate created this as a bulwark against self-doubt and all the contradictory noise of the world. Schaub is a fistful of pebbles disturbing Nate's still waters.
You didn't win 4 rounds? You didn't win 4 what rounds? You didn't win no rounds?
Our attention naturally fixates on the end of this clip, where Nate is the uncouth barbarian, flipping birds and making the insults personal. Look at this. Diaz is rolling his hands, holding out one, then the other. He's once again attempting to show Brendan that it's okay if they believe different things. Nate doesn't see the contradiction between their ideas as a problem. Nate looks at his phone. He's trying to signal he's done with this conversation. The major escalation comes from Schaub.
I turn around and go, bro, use your words. I can't understand a shit you're saying. He has that list when his speech isn't exactly the best. I didn't mean to offend him. I couldn't understand what he's saying. I go, bro, use your words. I think that's a trigger. Then he flips me off, starts doing this. I'm like, what are you doing right now? I was so embarrassed.
Brendan plays innocent here, but he was trying to hurt Nate's feelings with this comment. It's true that Nate has an obvious speech condition, a fact that only proves Schaub's comment was a low blow.
I was so embarrassed. I mean, I'm around, so embarrassed. Yeah. It's all business people. I'm like, what is going on right now? I was so embarrassed because the Showtime guys were like, oh my God, who is that guy? I'm like, that's the guy who's supposed to fight Conor next. They fought before, and and why does he want to? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? I'm like, it's just. I was so embarrassed, man. I'm like, oh God.
I believe Schaub was embarrassed, but he's using it in this story to help solidify the narrative that everyone could see he is perfectly civilized and Nate is at best feral. Well, there you go. A quick analysis of the confrontation between Brendan Schaub and Nate Diaz. This is the first close read I've done of Nate. In full disclosure, I was surprised by what I saw. I didn't expect Nate to make so many conciliatory gestures. Nate was a completely rational actor throughout this situation, but if you only consider his words and birds, you couldn't reach that understanding. I want to say thanks for all the great comments and conversations, here and over on the Twitters. I just discovered some messages go to my email. Apparently that's a thing. If you wrote a direct message, I apologize for the delay in my response. I'm on it now. If you like what's going on here, take part and subscribe. Remember, this isn't supposed to be easy.